capital, Nairobi, on a day that President William Ruto is set to address the nation as of 2:30 p.m. in his first State of the Nation address to the nation. President Ruto will deliver the address to a joint sitting of the bicameral parliament comprising the National Assembly and the Senate in the afternoon. Our camera lenses are focused on Parliament, even as the expectations are high. Join us as we bring you up to speed with the latest intrigues from Parliament, including the latest news making headlines from across the country. My name is Dennis Asseto. We shall be touching base with our reporters stationed in Parliament and across the country as we get your views and expectations on the President's speech. We'll address your concerns. Don't go nowhere. We shall be bringing you the answers live. But now, let's touch base with our reporter, Daniel Kariuki, coming to us live from the Parliament building as he brings us up to speed on what is happening. Good afternoon to you, Kariuki. Earlier, we had this conversation and we were expecting roads to be closed. Have they been closed? Have the army mounted have they mounted ready to receive the President, Kariuki?
It's a very good afternoon to you. You've said it right. This is the day that President William Ruto will be making the State of the Nation at the Parliament buildings. Remember, this is the first State of the Nation. Last year, the speech by President William Ruto at the joint sitting was about opening the bicameral Parliament. That's the 13th Parliament. But today he will be making a State of the Nation address to the joint sitting by the National Assembly and the Senate. Of course, it being 1 p.m., we are talking of about 1.5 hours, and we are going to be seeing President William Ruto make his way here at the Parliament, at the presence of Parliament. And of course, earlier on in the morning, he was in Ruiru constituency, and we expect him also to be coming at around between 2 and 2:30, because at exactly 2:30 he will be making his way into the chambers of the National Assembly for the joint sitting. And of course, there is a lot that is expected to be happening this afternoon concerning matters to do with the speech by President William Ruto, matters to do with cost of living, matters to do with the taxes, matters to do with the projects and issues, or rather what the president has planned for the country, and giving the progress of his 1 year in office. Now, to just bring matters into what exactly we are expecting, I'm joined by a Member of Parliament, Tindi Mwale, just to give us expectations and maybe some of the things that President, as a Member of Parliament, is expecting President William Ruto maybe to inform Kenyans. Of course, thank you very much for joining us here at KTN News, and we are live. President William Ruto, in the next 1.5 hours, will be making his way to the chambers to give the State of the Nation address. From where you sit, what maybe would you talk of some of the issues that you may be looking forward to him addressing?
First of all, the cost of living is very high. So we expect the president to outline measures or reasons as to why the cost of living is very high, especially on the level of fuel prices, because we have seen fuel prices are skyrocketing, and we are not very clear, or the government is not very clear why the fuel prices are skyrocketing. Also, the president needs to declare the floods a national disaster, because we have seen in parts of the country where people are really suffering because of the floods. We have also seen the cost of living products, price of unga and price of sugar, which has been skyrocketing day after the other. And then also we have seen the international trips, which the president has been doing. Kenyans are asking, why are we suffering, and is using billions of money traveling around the world. So he needs to outline the reasons why he's traveling outside the world, and also to tell Kenyans why it's essential for him to travel.
Right. Of course, recently, or some 2 days ago, we understand the members of parliament, especially those allied to Kenya Kwanza, took to the president and asked the president what was his plan, because they seemed to have been losing ground because of the cost of living, especially matters to do with fuel. Do you believe, or rather do you think that maybe the Kenya Kwanza members of parliament now have seen it maybe becoming a bit difficult, and now it's time to seek to ensure that at least they have their political ground?
Yeah, you see, if you add the price of fuel, it affects everyone. Whether you are a Kenya Kwanza MP or whether you are from the president backyard or not, it affects everyone. So everyone is feeling the pinch, including even people who work in State House. I'm very sure they're also feeling the pinch. So the reality here is that the president needs to be realistic. If he has employed people who cannot deliver, he should be able to sack them and then look for experts who are able to deliver and make lives of Kenyans to be far much better. Because when you look at the campaign manifesto and what the president used to say when he was in campaign rallies, there are times he would say the government, serikali itakuwa ya hustlers, or itakuwa mama mboga na boda boda. And when you look at the reality right now, it's those hustlers, mama mboga and boda boda, they are suffering. So what we are trying to say is the president needs to come out clear. Like when you look at the increase of this ID application and renewal, we have a very funny increment where someone can increase from 100 to 2,000.
Right.
You're asking, what's the problem? Are they not in this country, or are we living in another planet?
Maybe finally, before I let you go, some of the members of parliament from the Azimio side have already put out on their social media platforms. I'm talking about someone like Senator Edwin Sifuna, the senator for Nairobi, saying they are not going to be coming for the sitting as they are not ready to listen to the president. They believe the president will not convince the country that he is working hard to bring maybe the cost of living down a bit considerable. What's your take as a member of parliament who is in a party that is in the Azimio movement?
You see, that communication has not been official to the Azimio members, because me, I'm a ranking member, I'm a vice chairman of Public Accounts Committee, and I haven't seen any communication saying that we shouldn't attend. The best is we need to look for solutions. That's why I want to sit there and also criticize what he will say and see where is the way forward. Because if we run away, Kenyans are still out there. We are also Kenyans. We are suffering in the same quagmire. Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa, of course, for bringing us to speed with what we expect. And we are going to be talking to more members of parliament just to hear what they have concerning the sitting, the State of the Nation address this afternoon. Of course, once he arrives here, he'll be having a guard of honor before he proceeds to the chambers, and we'll keep the viewer updated. Of course, we are with Emmanuel Tor, who is going to be joining us in a few. But for now, I want to hand it back to studio.
Thank you very much, Daniel Kariuki, as you bring us up to speed on what is expected today, as the president is expected to address the nation, his very first State of the Nation address since he was declared president. But that notwithstanding, even if you go to the Standard newspaper today, we are asking, like, forget the norm, this is what we expect the president to address today. What are some of the issues that we are looking forward to now? The cost of living has, even as handled by Kariuki, is cost of living is high. On the same page 11 of the Standard newspaper, we are talking about fuel stations close as pump sales drop amid shrinking profits due to fuel prices. Kenyans are not fueling their cars due to fuel prices that continue to go up. Remember that the Energy Cabinet Secretaries warned that the prices would go to upwards of 300 shillings a litre. These are just some of the issues that we are expecting the president to handle. UHC, how is he going about it and putting food on the table? But that aside, let's just touch base with our reporter Emmanuel Tor, who is also joining us live from the Parliament buildings. Good afternoon to you, Tor. I know earlier you were attending the appearance of Interior CS in a committee. What was said there, and also what do you expect from your side if you've managed to speak to a few people and legislators in there? So.
Well, thank you very much, Aseto. I wasn't at the internal security meeting, but we are currently here in Parliament. My colleague Jeff Kirui is on the other end, but I will be giving an update later on. We are here for the State of the Nation address, and my colleague Daniel Kariuki has just given you an overview of what the opposition feels about the president's scorecard in the first 14 months in office, but we also want to touch base with the government position and, of course, some of the members of parliament who are allied to the Kenya Kwanzaa administration who are going to give their views. Majority of them have already made their voices heard, complaining about some of the decisions that have been made that are not so popular with the common mwananchi and the electorates. But we are here to speak to them and also get a feel of what they have to say. And I'm joined by the Senator for Nyeri, Wahome Wamatinga, who will be giving us some of the views from the members of the county of Nyeri, where the Deputy President comes from. Mheshimiwa, how are the people of Nyeri, what are they saying about the current administration? What is their scorecard in terms of the government's job so far?
Well, there still have some complaints about the cost of living. However, people are also quite appreciative of what has been done by the government so far. We are aware that where the government came into office, where the cost of fertilizers and some of the farm inputs, which is one of the main farm input, was at 7,000. Now it's about 2,500. The people are also appreciative of the fact that the government has been able to employ 56,000 school teachers. That has never happened in the history of Kenya. People, of course, are aware that it's going to be quite rough. People are complaining about the high cost of living, the high cost of fuel. However, I would want to state it clearly that there are some things, some groundwork that has been laid down, like the universal healthcare bills have been passed in the parliament. We would be expecting to see universal healthcare being implemented. And once it's rolled out, it will have quite a big impact on the cost of living, because we know that, especially in rural counties, the cost of health management has been quite high. People have complained about lack of good health facilities. And now with the universal healthcare, that is going to be one of the major milestones. Okay. We would expect that the president will be talking about it, among many other achievements, where he said he's laid down the foundation. We are seeing one of the first budget that has not relied on foreign donations, but that has been financed by the local revenue, and that is quite a major milestone, because it is a breakaway from what has historically happened. Every budget cycle, we've borrowed money to finance the budget. This year around, we've seen it be done differently. These are things that people will be looking at, and people will be looking forward to seeing the cost of living get better, the cost of fuel improve. We know, of course, that's being affected by the dollar, by the international community's happenings, that is in the Gaza, that is in Ukraine war, and those are things that have affected global markets, and Kenya is part of the global market.
All right, Senator, before I let you go, you've mentioned that there's several positive things the government has done, but the cost of living is still very high. Yesterday we saw the IDs, the cost of just getting an ID to become a Kenyan is also, you're going to get a charge for it, and of course, other services are also going up. What do you make of that, and what are the people of Nyeri saying about that issue about the cost of living?
Let me say that the cost of living generally has been on the rise. As I said again, it's a global trend. However, there are some things that we need to look at. For example, what the CS Interior has introduced, the cost of IDs for, that is something that has not been passed through public participation, and it's something that we are going to oppose very, very strongly, because it's going to add on the cost of the people. It is not necessary, and even importantly, it has not gone through the process that has been stipulated by the Constitution, that it must go through public participation so that it can be accepted. Once he brings that to the Parliament for approval, we'll be rejecting that, because this would be the long timing. Kenyans cannot be put on additional burdens. They are living from the drought consequences. We know, yes, we have a good rainfall, but we are yet to get the benefits of it from the fertilizers that we dispatched. People are yet to harvest. And before that comes into place, we have to make sure that Kenyans are not put on additional costs like now what the CS Interior is trying to introduce.
All right. So lastly, because I know you have to rush in, what do you tell Kenyans to expect in the coming years for this administration? In just a few words.
Well, this being our first budget, I'm quite positive that the foundation that we've laid down, the infrastructure that we put down, the legal framework that we've put down, the PPPs that we are starting, is going to a long way to improve our development. We would expect an economic recovery that's going to be much faster, and we would expect that Kenya will be more resilient to the external shocks, because right now we are relying a lot on our own source revenue.
Thank you so much, Senator. This process is also analytical, and of course there's those political analysts who want to give their voice about the current administration, the scorecard 14 months on, and I'm joined by Zil Chibunet, political analyst. What do you make, in just a few words, what do you make of the current administration's performance so far?
I think I can give William Ruto 7 out of 10. because this is just the first year, and we would expect him today. This is the real scorecard that we are going to see today, because there are so many things that he promised, the plan that he had, and of course the bottom-up economic model, and also the issues that he has done since he came to office. You remember the first thing that he did to swear in the charges, up to the last thing that he has done, going all over the world, strengthening the foreign policy of this country. I think the president has really done a lot.
Okay. He has traveled a lot, about 38 trips in 1 year, which is slightly above what the other predecessors have done. What do you make of those trips?
I think those trips have ensured that Kenya is on the map in the world, and it has placed Kenya to be a strategic partner. You would see even the foreign minister, that is the foreign minister of America, come to Kenya, and even the queen, the king and the queen were here the other day. So Kenya, you cannot now do without Kenya.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That is the parting shot from here in Parliament, and it's, of course, it is a bag of mixed reactions from both sides of the divide, and we've been able to capture and, of course, collect some of the views from here as Kenyans await that address by the president at 2:30. It's just about an hour to go, and so that is the much we have from here. Seto, over to you in studio.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. So as you continue to follow up on that, we shall be heading back there.